All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're live here with another episode of the Gafford and Brown Show. My name's Lamar Gafford,
Yeah, I'm Robert Brown.
and we're right here with our 21st episode. A big show for us today. We're pretty much going to be talking about the tournament and both sides, men's and women's NBA action and other sports news as well. But let's just jump everything right off the bat by talking about the NCAA tournament. We got the men's Final Four happening in Atlanta, and those 2 days are going to be happening on Saturday, the Final Four games, and also the championship game on Monday. And you also got the women's tournament, which that's going to begin on Sunday, and their championship is going to be on Tuesday. Going back to this, I think we talked a little bit about who was going to get the chance to win the tournament, the men's tournament on Monday's show. Has your thoughts still changed about that? About the final? Who's going to be making it to the finals and who's going to win the whole thing, Rob?
I still think it's going to be a Big East rematch between Louisville and Syracuse. I think Louisville is one of the best defensive teams. I know we paid a lot of attention to Syracuse's zone, but I think the press that Louisville runs is, just that emotion they have right now. You got Ware with that, devastating injury. I think this team really wants to push it and win it for him now. And I think this whole season that they've been poised, since last year, get to the title game and having that disappointment and coming back, I think this team really wants to send a message home that, they're real. A lot of people picked them to win. They were the early season favorite. They were the most people's brackets have them winning it all. So I think that, they really want to send that message home that, this is real.
And
How about you, Lamar?
I feel the same way too, because right now, looking at Louisville here, of these 4 teams that's in it, they're pretty much the best team. I got a good feeling that they're going to beat Wichita State on tomorrow, and whoever makes it out of there between Michigan and Syracuse, I got a good feeling they're going to beat them. So I really will say that it's going to be Louisville. Who's going to make it probably on the other side? I might be still holding on to Michigan, but then again, I kind of want to see a Big East matchup between Syracuse and Louisville to see who gets a chance to win the whole thing. Why not? It's the Big East. Get a chance, let them go out, on the last hurrah and everything. So, I might change my pick and say Louisville and Syracuse this time.
Right, and it'll definitely be fitting, considering the fact that these are 2 teams that are tied, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, playing each other this year.
Mm-hmm.
This past season. Like the regular season, Syracuse won, and during the Big East tournament, Louisville won. So, I think it would be, pretty much dramatic and storytelling. As far as storytelling goes, it'd be nice to see Louisville versus Syracuse. However, I'm not underestimating Michigan anymore. I'm not. I think I'm finally buying into the hype. They've showed me that they're capable. Can't count on Michigan.
And you can't. Really, you can't. And I think a lot of people have been wondering when this time was going to come. And besides, they were ranked pretty highly to start off the season with. And, you got great players like Trey Burke and Tim Hardaway Jr. and Glenn Robinson, I think the third. You got those players out there, and they have a very, very good team that they're not going to lay down lightly. And they're going to give Syracuse a very good game. It's just, to me, I think Syracuse with them, that zone seems to be working a little bit. And, that's going to be one of those things here that's going to be a good matchup here to see how John Beilein gets a chance to matches up X and O's with with dang, his name escapes me right now, but but yeah, Syracuse's coach, by the way, too. So you get a chance to see right there how these two can match up X's and O's too.
Right, and Syracuse is a team that hasn't won a title in 10 years. Since Carmelo Anthony. So Bowan's looking, to get that, get another title, cement his legacy as one of the greatest ever. And the stage doesn't get any bigger. Rick Pitino in Louisville. Rick Pitino, he yet to win a title in Louisville, but he's done the best there. He's taken them to. He's rebuilt that, that school, that program. Made it one of the elite programs in the nation. And, it'll be a fun matchup to see, Louisville and Syracuse once again, part three, for all the marbles. So, that's the matchup that I hope we get. I would like to see. I think you can't go wrong, though, either way. But, Wichita State, if somehow, some way, they able to make it to the big game and win, it'll be pretty impressive. They might, you probably be the kid that'll be the best mid-major ever.
You kinda could actually. I mean, with them being a 9 seed out there, I think the lowest seed to ever win in the tournament, I think, was a 9 seed, and I think that was the Villanova team in 1985. So yeah, they would be pretty much right up there because looking at the teams that made it to the final. I mean, Butler. I think the 2 times they made it to the championship game, I think they were seeded pretty highly actually. Like, one year they were like a 5 or something like that. So it would be a little bit of it would be much better actually, to be honest with you. So, but who knows? They might can get a chance to make it, and if they could do the unthinkable and beat Louisville, I think. Would you say that they have a chance of winning the championship? And how much of a chance would you give them against Michigan or Syracuse?
You know what? If they beat Louisville, I would give them. I couldn't count them out anymore. I really couldn't count them out. I think they would be just as capable, as any other team. You can no longer cast them as an underdog to me.
Right.
Because if they beat us Louisville on to Syracuse or Michigan, I think they would have a chance of beating them. I think it would be closer than what we expected. I wouldn't count them out. It almost reminds me of Butler versus UConn. Even though Butler is a little bit more, what should I say? They're a bit more established than Wichita State. I think it would be something like that. They're not a favorite, but at the same time, you can't take them lightly.
No, you cannot. No, you cannot. Not definitely. And looking at their stats up a little bit here. I mean, this is a team that went 30-8. They went 30-8. They went 12-6 in their conference, the Missouri Valley. But looking at everything here, they're a pretty good rebounding team. They're 27th in the nation with 38.4 rebounds and all. And then, this is a team that could, they're pretty good. So, who knows what could happen actually. And this is the time that, stranger things do happen and can happen and all that. And looking at their schedule here, they have beaten some teams that have been in the power conferences before, because they did beat Iowa. They actually beat VCU earlier in the season too. So, and they actually beat Creighton once during the season too, which when they were ranked at 12. So, who knows what can happen, man? Now,
what do you think? What do you think is the most interesting storyline from this Final Four this year?
I have to definitely say, how does Louisville do with without Kevin Ware? How can they be inspired since the injury that has happened to him, and how do they channel in their emotions about that? We saw a little bit about that when they played against Duke last Sunday. That when this guy got hurt, they still rallied behind. They still realized they had a game, and next thing you know, they won by 22 points over Duke. So, how can they win these next 2 days? Yeah, how can they win these next 2 games here without him? I mean, I think the inspiration of him, he's got to be there because who is from Atlanta, he's got to be at least there, probably in some capacity, I think. So, how can they be inspired by him? What do you think, Rob? I mean, what's your biggest storyline of this?
I would go with that, and I will also go to Michigan as finally being dominant again. This has been since the 90s, really, since Michigan's basketball program has been this good and this elite again. And it's refreshing to see because, due to, the situation with Chris Webber and whatnot, there's a lot of sanctions and penalties taking place against Michigan, the program. There's a lot of controversy. And to see them finally be back, finally be back on this stage, it's pretty, it's good for the sport, it's good for the NCAA. It's just, it's good to see.
And that it is, too. I mean, I'm glad to see, actually, this team come all the way back from that point. And it looks like right here, they got, with the team that they're building, who knows what could happen next year, but they built a very good team, and I'm glad to see them actually make it back into there. Now, on the other side, too, we also have the women's Final Four, and how fitting it is for the Big East, which we talked about them getting 2 teams in the men's Final Four. They have 3 teams in the women's Final Four, and it's crazy that the Big East has 5 of the 8 teams in both Final Fours here, considering that it's the last hurrah for them. Like we said, we have right now in one semifinal, we have Louisville, who upset Baylor and also upset Tennessee. They're going to take on Cal on Sunday in the early game, and then in the late game is going to be Notre Dame against UConn. Get a chance to see Skylar Diggins against UConn one more time. So, what are your thoughts about those 2 matchups, and who you think is going to win that one? Who do you think is going to win the whole tournament?
Right now, my favorites would be the household brand of UConn. Don't get me wrong, I love Skylar Diggs. I love, her story, Notre Dame, her leadership ability and whatnot. I think UConn overall is a better team. I think everybody gets the edge on. I think they're going to get the edge on that. Also, Louisville is a team that, I have to be honest, I haven't watched that much of Louisville, the women's team this year. But I like their aggression. I like the way, watch that Baylor game, them against Baylor, and, the way they just dominated her, the way they pushed her around, they sure that Brittany Griner wasn't going to, just dominate them in the post. And that scrappiness, I like their energy, and I like the matchup of Louisville versus UConn for the title, and I think I'm going to give the edge to UConn and win it all. What about you, Warren?
I'll have to go ahead and say probably it's going to be Louisville, Notre Dame. I really want to see Skylar Diggins get out there in her 3rd opportunity to make it to the national championship game and actually get a chance to win it this time around. And I think that this Notre Dame team is not scared of UConn because they beat them for the Big East title. And looking at it a little bit during the season, I want to go ahead and say they played against each other before this game. They played against each other 3 times, and Notre Dame beat them all 3 times. So I think that factor right there, that they're not scared of what is UConn, I think they're not scared of them one bit. Louisville, so I think Louisville will continue the streak, actually, because they've been playing inspired basketball, and seeing them against Baylor and almost giving up the lead but still holding on to win it, that impressed me right there, and also beating a very good program in Tennessee too. So I think we're going to have a Big East matchup in that one too. Louisville, Notre Dame, but Notre Dame takes all the marbles in that one.
Okay. All right. Well, I think I can see it happening, but you never know.
Exactly, and that's true. And we actually was going to try to get a somebody that's also into the women's basketball game as well. We hope to get him on the air one of these days too. His name is Chris Parsley. I think he goes to LSU, and he was a good friend of a person that called in on Monday's show, Mark Ebar. But he left out a little bit of a prediction thing for us, and he said that between California and Louisville, he says that Cal's going to win that game, even though he did say that Louisville's probably the hottest team in the tournament, but Cal has been able to overcome a lot of close games with their rebounding and general toughness. And between Notre Dame and UConn, he was kind of a little bit tired about that one. But he did say that the champion is going to, the winner of that game is going to win the national championship. So he said beating the team of UConn's caliber 4 times in the season is really tough. But if there's one team that can do it, it's Notre Dame. So thank you very much for that one, Chris. And also, I guess out of all 4 of these games that's going to, between the college basketball landscape, it's all going to be very good too. So we're going to be very entertained, I think, with all of these games here. Wouldn't you say the least?
Yeah, definitely think you're going to get great games from both teams. I'm excited to see how the Louisville Cal game goes.
And I'm pretty excited to see how that one goes as well too. Now, also going outside of the tournament for a minute, we're going to talk about some of the fired coaches. We have at least 3 job vacancies now that have been filled. I think we talked about this on Monday's show. UCLA got Steve Alford from New Mexico, to fill in their position. But USC got Andy Enfield. For those that don't know, remember him. He was the coach of Florida Gulf Coast. And also Minnesota, they got FIU's Richard Pitino, who is the son of Rick Pitino from Louisville. Which 3 job openings do you think? Which 3 job hires do you think was the best one? And do you think all 3 of them can work?
Well, I think all 3 are capable of working. I like the UCLA move. I think that's going to benefit them. Ben Howard had such a history for being disciplinarian. There are a lot of players really didn't care for. A lot of guys leave early. And, after those, Final Four appearances, the wins kind of stopped for a while. And, so it's a good fresh start. You got a guy who's trying to, establish, break, that winning tradition again. Florida Gulf Coast coach, that's a good story. I want to see how that's going to translate. USC has a solid program. They've done pretty well since the Tim Floyd days. So, I think I like that move. What do you think, Lamar?
I think the best one was probably going to be I'm pretty much torn between UCLA and USC, but if you had to give me to choose one, I'll probably go ahead and say UCLA. With Alford, he has been a coach that has gotten you to, gotten some very good seasons when he was with Iowa and also with New Mexico. The problem with him is the tournament time, and that's going to be one of those things too. Because if you have too many, making it to the first round, second rounds, and out, next thing you know, at UCLA, that's not good enough. UCLA is expected to compete for championships in basketball every single year, and he's going to have to really do that. But I think he is capable enough for that challenge because we've seen the Pac-10 this year. They have been a little bit down. About Andy Enfield, I hope he can get a chance to showcase what he can do at USC. I just hope that being in a very good basketball program, at a very good school now, which is USC, I just hope that it doesn't overwhelm him as much as it probably does, when he's with Florida Gulf Coast, because it's a little bit different now, having to go from a school where nobody knows about you to a big name school. So that's going to be one of those things. But I think they both can make it work since they're in the Pac-10. It's a little bit down. You don't have that much competition to have to worry about. So maybe they can make it work. So who knows?
Now, I want to get your opinion on this. Something I didn't know about. I saw that this is the first Final Four since 1985 without some, the big household names. No North Carolina, no Duke, no Kentucky. And what are your thoughts about that? No Indiana and UCLA as well. What are your thoughts about that?
Wow. That kind of shocked me right there because I didn't think about that either. It's just, I guess it's just telling you right here that it's a little bit of a change in the guard here because, as much as we all groan about the one and done rule, you can say that it's actually done a lot for parity in college basketball because now you got smaller schools that have, of course you got the bigger schools that might have the players that have the one and dones, just like Kentucky always does. But you also have the smaller schools that looks like they keep the players for 4 years. And you've seen it over the past couple of years with Butler making it to the Final Four, Wichita State doing it now, VCU making it to the Final Four as well. So I think it's just a little bit of a parity thing right now because even though you do have two very good coaches, Syracuse's Jim Boeheim, by the way, Louisville's Rick Pitino, but you also got Michigan, and then you also got, the Cinderella team in Wichita State. So, I guess it's just a parity issue. How about you, Rob?
It's good for the game. I always like seeing new guys and good new teams and new stars in the Final Four. I mean, you like your household names like Duke, Carolina, Indiana, UCLA, Kentucky, but we haven't really had that often anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think back to the last time we've had that much star power and that many big names in the Final Four. Usually, we get the upset or we get those teams that you thought would make it, but didn't kind of make it. It just happens. I mean, that's how it goes. Like the year Butler and UConn played. I remember a lot of people complained about that game because it was Butler, a team that people really followed. Then you had UConn, a Big East powerhouse, but that was the year they really just had Kemba Walker and Jeremy Lamb leading. So you had a lot of people complaining about that, but it's just that's just how it goes. That's the excitement with March Madness. You don't know who's going to make it. Usually the favorites don't make it, and it gives it more excitement to me.
Oh, definitely. It's just a crapshoot. Like I said, once again about and if you need evidence in that, a lot of people picking the games for their the brackets and stuff like that. Like we all fill the bracket out. We didn't do too well, but then there's some years that we do well because you might get those picks and all that stuff. So you never know. It's a crapshoot. So there you go, man.
Right. Yeah. So that's just how it goes. Now, one of the things I've been a little salty about recently is the coverage of the Rutgers situation,
Mm-hmm.
and I was almost overshadowed when we have a pretty good Final Four.
Yeah, it really does seem like that it has been. And for this situation, for everybody that does not know about it, their coach, they just recently fired their coach, Rice. They recently fired their coach, by the way, Mike Rice, just because of stuff that he was doing during practice with his players, by cussing at his players, by not just only cussing at his players, but also putting his hands on them and also throwing basketballs at them and doing a little bit of things that would be frowned upon now, but kind of wouldn't be frowned upon back in the 50s and 60s and 70s. I just want to get your opinion on this take first. What are your opinion? What are your thoughts about this?
I think the entire situation is crazy. I think actions are being taken. The necessary actions are being taken. But it's something that I think you certainly can't condone because once you cross that line of assaulting players and the language used in that video, it's uncalled for. And I'm sure they're not the only ones doing that. I'm sure there are other examples of it probably happening, but it makes you wonder, what's going on in other practices.
That's true.
It makes you want to see film. I mean, I don't know what's going to come after this, what NCAA regulations are going to happen, but it makes you wonder what's going on in other practices.
And that is true too, because I can understand a little bit of the cussing, some of the cussing. I wouldn't use all the words, but I can understand some of the cussing out there too, because some coaches do use that as far as to motivate their players. But when you're getting to the point where you're putting your hands on the player with intent to harm and not motivate, then that's a different story. And especially with throwing basketballs, which I seen the video a little bit, one of the basketballs almost hit the guy in the head. I mean, that's a little bit of a problem right there, and that I can't condone that, period. Because they had, I think one of the players that one of the coaches that did report it at first, Eric Murdoch, he used to be an NBA player. I think when he brought it up to him, I think he was either I don't think he was either he left the program. So next thing you know, somebody else brings it up to the coach and they only suspend him for 3 games. And now, since it gone viral, they fired him right then and there. I just feel like they should have fired him once they found out the position and everything. And that's just crazy and baffling to me, man. And there's just no place in the world or even in college sports for it. So.
Yeah, we made jokes about Bob and his hands and the headbutts and the chair throwing, but this takes it to a whole nother level.
Exactly. Now, what are your thoughts also about? Now, we just now learned here that the AD just left as well. But I think his name Tom Pernetti. Tim Pernetti. He resigned as the AD today. But at first, it looked like they weren't going to fire him, mostly because of him, getting that deal to put Rutgers in the Big Ten in 2014. What do you think about that? And should they have fired him right away?
Yeah, well, he kind of delayed the inevitable. I think his fire was going to come in. I guess he saved his face by resigning. Also, the president of Rutgers, Robert L. Barchi, looks as if he might not have a guarantee stay there. So they're pretty much cleaning the house. This is I guess the last current college scandal we remember is the Penn State situation.
Yes.
And this probably is going to follow suit for what happened with their level. A lot of people at the top of the sports program and the president are probably all going to be on.
Because I got a good feeling that heads are going to roll on this one too. Because, like we said, we started off with the coach here, and now you got the AD, and who knows, the president could be in hot water too. It's just a horrible situation right there, and it's just, man, it's just crazy. I can't. Like I said, I don't think this is an indefensible, really, to be honest with you, because there's a line where it goes to. There's a line where you have to cross in order to be tough, and then there's the other side of the line where you're just playing crazy. And I feel like that Rice basically went over the lines and over the boundaries right there and just was crazy about that. And like I said, I can't defend what Rice did, and period, because what if somebody would have got hurt, and the prop and again also just talking about it and about the NCAA. The players, they really could not leave, because if they left, let's just say, to go to another school, they had to sit out a year. So that's a little bit of a problem as well too.
Yeah, that's something that I think needs to be changed as well, because players, many times they transfer because, it's not all about playing time, etc. But you have situations like that where a player, feels, threatened or, feels as if they can't perform to the level that they would like to because, of the high expectations of their coach and the backlash they might receive due to them not performing to those expectations. So, you get a situation like that where, it's bigger than just basketball. It's about a player, we're more than a player, but it's a person's mindset, a person, wanting to be in a safe environment. So, you have a situation like that. You also have the situation where coaches are allowed to leave, and come as they please, and they face no penalties or anything of that nature. So, I think it's time for players to, be able to have those second freedoms and be allowed to transfer without having to sit out a year or, go through all the scrutiny and all those things.
Right, and it's just crazy. And I'm gonna save this also for a little bit of our next segment too, about a little bit of the hypocrisy of the NCAA as well, because this shows it a little bit right there. And then the next example that we're actually going to get into in just about 30 seconds after we take our break, we're also going to talk about the selling of those Kevin Ware T-shirts, where he's not getting a cut of the profits just to help him out. And I got a good feeling that we're going to have a very good topic about very good discussion about that one too.
Oh, definitely.
So we're just going to go ahead, take ourselves a 30-second break, and we will be right back with the Gafford and Brown Show in that second, after a commercial break from our people. All right, we're right back with the show here, and pretty much we're going to go to part two of our little segment here, which we were talking about the NCAA making it into their, how they're doing things. And we first talked about the whole Rutgers situation right there, how we said it was unfair about let's just say the coaches, they could leave and not get punished, but yet the players could leave and they had to sit out a year, and that's just a horrible rule for me on that one too. But let's also talk about it from another part of the NCAA too, where we were talking about Louisville's Kevin Ware. We all remember the gruesome injury that he suffered on Sunday. Adidas has been selling T-shirts about that, I think, Rise Above, and it has his number 5, as part of the S right there. Adidas would be making a cut, and of course Louisville's making a cut because it's them. But Kevin Ware is not not getting anything to it. What are your thoughts about that one too? Because I guess again it continues to get back to the point here that I feel like we should pay the players.
I think the players deserve some type of compensation. Not necessarily, the payroll of NBA players, but they deserve something for their effort. Especially when you throw in the fact that they're being exploited almost by the universities to make money. That they're not getting. You have like those T-shirts you mentioned. You have those T-shirts. Basically, being inspiration for the team and the school. Saying rise above, but he's not getting any of that money to, go along along with, the cause of his injuries and whatnot. Now, I'm sure that the university may be helping, to pay for those. I don't know how the NCAA guidelines work with injuries, that happen during games. I don't know how well off his family is. Maybe he had health insurance with his family. I don't know how that goes, but, it would be nice if some of the profits from those shirts went towards his family or, towards his, whatever his medical bill or whatever. And, we already know he's on a scholarship, but, he deserves something, for being, used to sell T-shirts.
And I agree with that too, because if you heard about what Rick Pitino said during his press conference, after the game against Duke, you could tell based on his actions that he was very concerned about this player. He really loved him a whole lot, and he felt a lot of remorse for him. And I don't think he would kick him off the team or anything else like that unless there was exactly a way that he couldn't be able to play. It's just another thing though too. You kind of have to use a little bit of common sense though. You're still kind of marketing off the players' likenesses, and yet they're not getting a dime for it. Like you said, it's pretty much exploitation right there, because again, the players, they're here, they're bringing a lot of money, they're bringing a lot of money and revenue to the universities based on how they play. Of course, you got the coaches, they recruit them and all that, but the players are actually the ones, the coaches coach them up. The players are actually the ones that also, they have a hand in the say of bringing them back, based on the revenue and everything. But yet, while a lot of these schools are getting these lucrative deals and stuff, the players, they're not seeing a dime out of it. But yet, you got coaches, like some coaches here, getting upwards to about $3 million, $4 million, maybe even $5 million, especially if you're in football. And that's just right there. I'm not saying, I know we both are not saying, of course, the players should not be paid that much, because, that's kind of ludicrous right there. But if you could give them a little bit of a stipend here and there, maybe like, a certain amount a week, I think that would go a long way just to show right there that they're not being that exploited right there.
Right. And, I've had conversations with a lot of people about this situation. They make the argument that players are being paid, that they have education where, they don't have to pay a dime, and other people, who are going to use their degrees, in the real world feel like that players are already compensated enough, just by getting, room and board and, just other luxuries. And, they feel that, granted that they might not be, a part of a money-making entity such as NCAA sports, they feel as if, they deserve, that they should get something of that, consider that they have to use their degree in real life. How do you feel about that? Do you feel as if that's a valid argument?
I can see where they're coming from, but I can also see, I can kind of see where they're coming from about them saying that, because they might, of course, they might have the whole issue about that and stuff like that too. So I can see where they're coming from, but I really think that the players do at least deserve it. And I'm not just saying high-profile sports like football and basketball, but I'm saying if you're not just going to do it for, football, if you're going to do it for football and basketball, do it for everybody. I mean, that's even the lower sports in the totem pole that not too many people might care about. Like, maybe, let's just say, maybe like bowling or rowing or something like that. So, I would say because they're helping out the schools and all that stuff too. Of course, both of us might know here that we both had jobs when we were in college. Of course, I was with the newspaper at ULM, and then you were with the radio station in Northwestern. So
right, and several other odd jobs, you know.
exactly.
You know, and I've never envied athletes. I've never been jealous of athletes for, you know, them receiving, you know, special treatment or, you know, scholarships and things of that nature because, you know, to a certain extent, you know, they've earned that, you know, they've used their physical gifts to, you know, receive those, you know, special perks and privileges. I feel that they should be compensated to an extent, you know, a lot of these guys come from, you know, situations where, you know, there's not much money back home. You know, they're usually the only people in their families, you know, to go to college. And they might not, you know, that's why the one and done rule in the NCAA gets so much criticism because these guys come from these, you know, sometimes these broken homes and, you know, they see college not necessarily as an opportunity to get an education, but one step closer to the NBA. You know, a lot of these guys, they're not going necessarily for an education. They're going because this is a rule where I have to go to school and I have to go to the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they're doing that to make money, you know, for their families. So if there was a way that these guys could get paid while in school, maybe some of them will consider staying extra years, you know, finishing their degrees, if they were able to get stipends that they could help, you know, with their families back home, or, you know, or, you know, some guys that say, you know, what, why make, you know, a little bit of change when I go to the NBA instead of make millions? You know, you're gonna have those guys, but it could make a difference.
Right. And I've always felt the same way too, because I never really liked the one and done. It has you know brought to your attention, you know, some different players. In a way, it kind of makes the game a little bit unpredictable, of course, for the big programs that are able to attract those players. I've always thought that in a way it should have been maybe like 2 years. Like you could you could just use 1 year and then you could just use the second year, and who knows, you might get a chance to stay in school or something. I still also believe that the players do deserve to be paid as well. And also, if somebody wants to go to the pros right after high school, I kind of had a thought here that maybe you could have a committee just to see here how would they be able to do. Like they could play against some very good players, practice, and they can determine right then and there could they go. And if they pass, they get a chance to be in the draft. If they don't pass, they go to college to get a chance to practice their skills a little bit and also, play for about, 2 years. But yet I also feel like that they should be paid as well too, a little bit of a stipend. Doesn't have to be a lot. I mean, just give them a little stipend here, just for them to get food or groceries and, clothing and all that different type of stuff. So
yeah, and it's a tricky topic. It's something that I don't think will be resolved anytime soon. I don't think the NCAA is going to. I don't think they're going to play players anytime soon. I think it'll be way down the line before something like that happens because. I just don't know. There's too many politics involved, and there's a lot of under the table things we don't know about. Recently Auburn has been accused of giving players money under the table.
Mm-hmm.
During their former coach's tenure there. So, there's lots of things we don't know about that happens on these programs, and we just don't know. And there's a lot of politics involved. So,
and I'm glad.
Who knows what happens? What will happen when it comes to players being properly compensated?
And I'm glad you brought that one up too, because I was actually gonna talk about that one, because it's just one of those things too. And what are your thoughts about that one?
Well, there's no secret. You cover sports at ULM.
Right.
I've been close to athletics at Northwestern, and that's just how it goes. If you're a good enough player, if you can help the program win more games,
mm-hmm.
you're going to get special treatment. That's just how it goes. Now, as far as grade changing, I can't say names or situations necessarily I've seen happen, but you hear things.
Yes.
You hear things. You see certain things sometimes when you take a class with an athlete. You're in class, and you might not see that guy for the whole semester, and next thing if I'm gonna come around, he's there, and he has one guy, he got an A, and you got a B or a C or something,
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. That's how it goes. Now you have some student athletes who take their classes and their sport seriously. You have
Right.
a lot of All-Americans and guys that are academic, just. They take the role seriously. They're leaders and whatnot. You don't want to see the old guys get punished, but there are lots of examples of players getting special treatment, getting grade change, things of that nature. It just happens. It's something that I think it's not even controversy anymore because it happens everywhere.
Oh, likewise. And it's just like if you bust one, I mean, there's still, let's just say there's still probably about 50 other schools that are probably doing the same thing. But yet, then again, this school is just unfortunate to get caught. So, I mean, it's just something that has happened, and it will forever happen, no matter what. And I really kind of don't see any end on the insight right then and there, because I mean, you stop one, there's still going to be some schools that might do it, because once again, it's like if you ain't cheating, you're not trying. So. That's just one of those things right then and there, and that's just it right there. So that's all I got to say about that one.
Yeah, that's just how it goes, man. I mean, it's a system with a lot of politics. All these programs want to win, and they want to make the most money, and the only way you do that is if you get the best players. So, and you have to keep those players. And in football, you have to keep those guys for at least 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's no telling what's going on. And I'm sure there are stories and things that we knew about them, we would probably, just be shocked. But I think that's how the game goes.
Exactly. And exactly. That's just it. That's just it. It's always been like that. So I don't see any end in sight or anything else like that. And it's just so crazy, It's just so crazy right then and there. So we're going to go ahead and take ourselves another 30-second break, and we're actually going to go ahead and jump right off the topic here about the NBA. Had some very good games this week. Playoff races are starting to crystallize a little bit more. We still got 2 weeks to go, so we're going to go ahead and talk about that. We'll be right back in 30 seconds. Exactly. Well, we're right back with the show here. And now we're going to go ahead and talk about the NBA playoffs. And we actually had ourselves some very good games this week. None was actually more bigger in the case of the 8 seed here than on the game on Tuesday between the Mavericks and the Lakers. Right now, the Lakers won that game 101-81. Dallas gave everything it could, but they fell apart in the end right now. So right now we got the Lakers and Utah basically fighting for that 8 seed. And right now it's the Lakers that are half a game above here. And I guess we continue to ask that every single time here on this show. The Lakers really need to finish a game above Utah, because I think the Lakers don't have the tiebreaker against them. Do you think that they'll be able to do it, or do you think there's a way that now Utah probably can hold them off?
It's still, I know we have 2 weeks, only 2 weeks left, but I think it's still a little early to tell. I think the Lakers have the tougher schedule too, and I think Utah overall has a better team. So I'm leaning a little more towards Utah right now, because I just think their role is going to be hard. But you never know how things are going to play out, because the Lakers they're a big market, they're a big team, they're a big deal. When's the last time we had an NBA playoff without the Lakers?
I think that was in 2005. Actually, that was the year. I think that was the year that Kobe finally. It was finally Kobe's team. Shaq left, and I think that was also the year that Phil Jackson left.
They didn't make the playoffs. And that's crazy. You know, that's been. I mean, that's the last time we ever seen Lakers in the playoffs. So you know, I mean, it's been a while. So you know, we're used to seeing them compete and at least you know contend for a title. And not even see them make the 8th seed, they'll be pretty bad, you know, I mean, for the game a little bit because, well, not necessarily for the game, but just, I mean, we're used to them. We're used to Kobe, we're used to Dwight, those guys in the postseason, so not seeing them will be different.
Right. And the crazy thing is, too, I mean, no matter what your opinion on the Lakers are, either you're maybe a diehard fan of them, or you just totally hate their guts. It's not the same if you cannot see the Lakers competing in the playoffs. It's not the same. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest with you here. It's not the same. Like, if you see them basically sitting on the couch and your team is doing the same thing, or your team is in the playoffs, of course, if your team is in the playoffs, you're probably laughing. But if your team is also sitting on the couch, it's just that's that one less marquee team, and it just feels odd for you, you know, just to see Kobe Bryant or the Lakers franchise not even make it to the playoffs. So that's just one thing. I think we're gonna rattle off a little bit of the schedule right here between these schools. The Jazz have New Orleans, a game against New Orleans tonight. They got to travel to Golden State on Sunday. They got to go to Oklahoma City on Tuesday. Next Friday, they go to they host Minnesota. Then they make a return trip on the 15th, and they end the season at Memphis. And while the Lakers, they might have the tougher schedule here, but they also have they play in the night against Memphis at home. They're on quote unquote the road against the Clippers. They're hosting the Hornets. They travel to Portland. Then they host Golden State. Then they host San Antonio. And then they host Houston. So pretty much all of their games are going to be on the West Coast. Like, all of their games are going to be on the West Coast, and all their games are going to be in the Staples Center except for one. So I think the Lakers are going to get the chance to pull this one off, too. Really.
Yeah, and it's crazy because, you know, the Lakers are such a huge brand, and for them to lose this playoff spot to Utah Jazz, you know, a small market team. Well, the team is always a small market, but they have zero star power, not one all-star, and it's funny, you know, it shows you how far the might fall, you know, when you just chase names and see if the Lakers been doing it, so.
Right.
Like, don't think can recover.
Now, it is also so crazy, too, that we were also talking about during the game, we saw Shaquille O'Neal's jersey being retired, but they had Phil Jackson talking about Shaq, and you also had the Laker fans saying, "We want Phil, we want Phil," and I could just only imagine one thing when I heard that how could Mike D'Antoni be feeling right now?
Well, he knew it was coming. I mean, he knew that he wasn't the top guy. You know, he knew Phil was a guy that, you know, would be the Lakers, you know, first idea of calling. But, you know, the light was on the wall. He saw it. You know, he didn't have to deal with it. I mean, he has a 2-year deal. You know, I think he's going to run the contract out, you know, unless they just start off horrible next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to get his contract served, and, you know, then he might, you know, be able to go somewhere else, or, you know, they might part ways. But right now he's safe, so he shouldn't worry too much about it. It's just fans being fans.
Yeah, but of course, that because if you just look at Mike D'Antoni, I mean, he's actually a pretty good coach because as we could see how he was with the Suns. I mean, he was a very good coach with them with that 7 seconds and less offense. And then you also with him with the Knicks, once they got Amare, you could see that he was a pretty good coach. And unfortunately, last year they kind of were struggling a little bit, and that which led to his departure right there. But then you see the Knicks really bouncing back right now. But it's just one of those things right there. Like you said, it's just fans being fans too.
Yeah, it's something that's not going to change, especially when competitors are used to titles, they're not used to struggling to just make the playoffs.
Now, also, we also had a very big game last night between Oklahoma City and San Antonio. The Thunder won 100-88, and now have really put a little bit of heat between them and San Antonio. San Antonio now leads the West by a half of a game over Oklahoma City, and now it's going to be the point here of who's actually going to get that one seed of the West, OKC or San Antonio.
I'm leaning more so with OKC because I think right now Greg Popovich is the guy we know for sitting players and resting them. So I think he's gonna scale back Tim Duncan's minutes. Parker's still getting used to back in big games. He only had 2 points last night. So he's definitely taking the time. Ginobili's out. So I think OKC is going to take it. They're playing most of their starters. They're actually a little hot right now. So I'm going to give it to OKC. What about you?
I did say that maybe OKC would have finished in second, but I think OKC is now going to finish in first. Really, about Greg Popovich, I don't think he cares about being seeded number one because he knows that he has a veteran team that is willing to play anywhere and at anything at hand here. So I think they're not really focused on the seeding as much as maybe OKC is a little bit focused on the seeding about being number one. And I really think they need that number one seed because they need to, I think they showed that they could beat San Antonio anywhere last year, but I think that one seed would also reinforce everything because the season series is tied between the two teams, and also the home team has won all 4 of those games. So whoever really makes it out wins that tiebreaker. They get that all important 7 game at home, and that's always a big one right there.
Yeah, and the thing about OKC is, if they can play like that, if they can push the ball, have Westbrook and Durant being to get equal scoring opportunities, share the ball, have Kevin Martin be able to come out the bench and give his usual 15 to 20, and have Perkins and Ibaka play well in the post. I think this is a team that's going to make another finals appearance, but times we've seen during the season, that doesn't always work out. Granted, they've had much success still without James Harden, but I feel this team sometimes can stray away from what they're good at, and we saw that during the finals, last year as a prime example. So I like OKC's chances of finishing number one. I like the chances of winning the fifth, but we'll just have to take the wait and see approach on that come playoff time. But I definitely like them coming with the number one spot.
And likewise too, because I just think right now at this point, San Antonio, they have a little bit of, they're kind of dinged up right now. It's just all about they're kind of dinged up right now, and I really think all importantly right here that what Greg Popovich really wants to do is just try to rest his guys up and just try to preserve them for the playoffs. So like I said, it's not all about seeding for him as maybe it is about as for OKC right then and there. So you never know right there in that case in point. Now we also got another story here about the NBA too, that the Denver Nuggets, they're a little banged up right now too, where we saw Ty Lawson's a little bit hobbled, but they had a very bad injury last night to Danilo Gallinari, and which looks like he might have torn his ACL. We don't know we're waiting the results of the MRI, and we'll try to get those news to you out there. But what do you think about that right there?
I think the injury that hurts them. Of course, he's huge for the offense. He's a guy that can stretch the floor with his three-point ability. To me, he's the best all-around scorer. But we also have to look at the depth of this team. They have a lot of great players. I think George Karl is going to make the necessary adjustments. Granted, you never want to lose a guy that can give you 20, a night, who gives you instant offense, but, that's just how it goes. I'm sure if they can make it deep in the playoffs, I think he may be able to retire. I still haven't heard, I've heard one report say his season ended, but then I heard another report saying they're waiting on an MRI, so still waiting to hear more about that, but I think they'll be able to make necessary adjustments. I still like them. I like the chances of going to the second round, and I think they'll be okay.
I have to say so too, because once again we know about Denver. They're a very deep team, and they got to thank themselves about the Carmelo trade for that, because they got a bunch of good players in that deal, and Gallinari was one of them. I think they could survive past Golden State without Gallo. It's just going to be the second round. Could they beat San Antonio? Could they beat OKC? That might be a little bit of a different story. But for right now, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be okay. We hope that it's not an ACL injury, because we would love to see him back. But I think they'll be all right. I'll say the same thing as you on this one.
Yeah, and like I said, I think they'll find the scoring that Gallinari brings. They'll find it with someone else. Winston Chandler, Lawson. There's a lot of guys that can put the ball on. Andre Miller can step up. Just a lot of guys. Iguodala, a solid contributor. Fareed and McGee, Nicole. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely. They'll be okay. It's just, once again, injuries happen. It's just the nature of the beast thing, and that's pretty much it right then and there. So we're going to go ahead and take ourselves another 30-second break, and we're going to get to you some NBA news as well, where a big-time cornerback actually has found now a new home. So we're going to try to, get that news to you, and we're going to try to wrap up the show as well. This is the Gafford and Brown Show. We'll be right back. I didn't get the reception on that one. All right, we're back on the show here. Of our show right now, we actually got ourselves some NFL news that we want to try to get across too. Nnamdi Asomugha, a lot of people were talking about him in 2011, talking about him going to the Philadelphia Eagles and starting up the dream team and all of that. Well, he was cut by the Eagles, and now he has a new home, and he finds himself in San Francisco. Now, what do you think about that deal, and do you think that really puts San Francisco over the top, and do you think he can get right back to what he was?
Well, it's a good deal for San Francisco and him. Now, I think the better deal would have been for him to go to New Orleans, where he would have gotten more money and more years. But I think he's more concerned about winning a ring instead of money right now.
Mm-hmm.
He might not necessarily start with San Francisco, and that might not be a bad thing. Nnamdi's a guy who's better when he's in the man-to-man system. Zone, as we saw in Philly, is not his thing.
Yes.
I think he'll do well in San Fran. It's only a one-year deal, so if he can get a ring out of this, I think he'll be content and able to go somewhere else. He might get re-signed if things go right. So who knows? I think it's win-win for both sides.
Yeah, absolutely too, because like you said, it depended on the system here, and this was a guy that was one of the better cornerbacks out there in the league. A lot of people were talking about him, and before the season, and especially fit that system that the Raiders had very well. And with the Eagles, it wasn't too good. If they can, play to his strengths a little bit, and I think the 49ers can do that, he'll be okay, and he'll be a very good asset for this team, and he'll be very beneficial for their playing style. And who knows? Maybe if he would have got to New Orleans with Rob Ryan being the defensive coordinator, that could have worked out for him there too. But I think it could work out for him. I think it could work out for the Niners as well. And also being a 1-year deal is a low risk, but could also have high reward things, high rewards as well.
Right.
Now, also seeing here some more of the news here that's also happening. A little bit of the Miami Heat that, just as a precaution, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Ray Allen, they're going to be sitting out for tonight's game against the Charlotte Bobcats. Would you give
TV game? I can't believe it's on TV. I can't believe the Bobcats got a national game.
Wow, they got a national TV game. It's just crazy here. Do you think the Bobcats are probably going to win this game, or what do you think?
Nah, it's not gonna win.
Yeah.
This is a Heat team that beat the San Antonio Spurs last week without LeBron playing and Chalmers. So I think they'll win again against Charlotte. Unless Kemba Walker goes off for like 40, but I think they're Miami be alright. They'll win.
Yeah, same here. I think Miami's just gonna do it because even though we seen during the streak here, Miami beat Charlotte without Wade. I think no LeBron is probably Bosh can be able to handle it by himself too. So once again, like you said, and I didn't even know it was on TV until you brought it up too. That's just shocked me right there, man.
Yeah, I saw it last night. I was watching Sports Center. I saw a commercial. It was like NBA action, and it's a doubleheader. The first game is Miami and Charlotte. The next game has Portland and I forgot the other team.
Houston.
Yeah, Portland and Houston. Yeah, there we go.
So I don't know. I guess I'm kind of glad I'll be off. I mean, I'll be working during that game, during the Miami Charlotte game. But at least I can probably catch the Portland Houston game too, because I think this is a Houston team that hasn't gotten that many national TV games, and they're starting to do that. And
yeah, consider I think the last big game I remember watching them was the Christmas night game on ESPN.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right about that.
And so I'm kind of glad. I'm glad to see them get at least some national exposure. And actually, they're going to get some national exposure on Tuesday because I think they picked the Phoenix-Houston game as well. So, a lot of people are going to get a chance to see how this Rockets team can play. And I mean, if just trust me on this one. This team is very good. They have a high-powered offense and everything, and they're very excited.
They also can see more in the playoffs because I think they're pretty much a lock this 7th spot now.
Oh yes, definitely. Looking at it right now, I think they are a game. I think they're 3 games ahead of the Lakers for 7 because I think they're good there. They have a chance though to move up to 6 because they're a game behind Golden State. So that's going to be interesting there because right now their playoff opponent would be Oklahoma City, or if San Antonio drops like we thought they could, that could also bring in a little bit of a state rivalry game, or they could move up and then they could probably play against Denver. So either one of those right there, I think would have a lot of storylines and a lot of exciting games as well. So let's see. We also have some more news too to have to report. Josh Hamilton, he made his debut back in Texas. He's not. Those that don't know, he's now with the LA Angels, And they said they greeted him with boos, like everything, like we all said, like we all figured on this one.
Yeah, and he's still hitless, I believe, in LA, so maybe he'll get over that slump soon.
Yeah, definitely, because we know of him being such a good player that he can turn it on. It's just one of those things. I think he just has to get adjusted to the. He just has to get adjusted to the whole thing and the whole idea as well too. Another thing about the baseball season that I don't think we talked about too was like, what do you think about the interleague play now that is going to be out there for the whole year? Like at least you're gonna have one series every single day. That's gonna be an interleague series.
Well, it's good to mix it up. I've always been a fan of interleague play. I've never been one to look down a player or say it's a cheap gimmick. I've always liked it, and I think it's more exciting for the fans. And I'm not opposed to it. I definitely see it as a good thing. What about you?
Oh, likewise. Because I'm definitely not opposed to it as well. Because you get a chance to, because back in the day you didn't get a chance to see the matchups here like Yankees and Mets or Cubs, White Sox, and A's and Giants, Dodgers, Angels, those different type of series until Bud Selig brought it up in '97, and now it's becoming such a big thing because you might get a chance to see surprising teams from one league play against surprising teams from another league, or big teams from one league go against big teams from another league. I just wish that in the schedule that they have it, the crosstown rivalries, they kind of lowered it down from 6 to 4. I kind of wish they didn't do that, and I hope they can try to change that up. But seeing interleague play every single day, that's I have no opposition to that either. So I'm perfectly straight with that one. I'm perfectly fine with that one too. And also we also have to talk about the WrestleMania too.
Oh yeah, this Sunday.
Yeah, this Sunday as well. You got any prediction for that one too?
I'm pretty excited to see how the newcomer Fandango comes along. I think that might be my biggest storyline. I mean, it's the guy who hasn't even had one match yet, so.
Right. And like you said, I think on the previous show here, he must be a really big deal, with him being in his first match at WrestleMania against Chris Jericho, who we all know is one of the better wrestlers, at least in this era too. So.
Right. Now, what are your predictions for the main event?
I really think, if you were to ask me, I think John Cena gets a chance to take that championship right back. But I kind of think that maybe this might be the time here that he might turn heel. Who knows? What do you think?
That's what a lot of people hope. A lot of people, especially a lot of older fans like us would like to see, but I don't know how that's going to go. For an alternate scenario, someone throwing this up as a maybe Dolph will cash in and maybe get the upset, the main event.
Mm-hmm.
So, who knows? Hopefully it's something that, that's exciting and, sends people home happy.
That is all true too. And then the other match right here, like of Brock Lesnar and Triple H. What are your thoughts about that one?
I think Lesnar will win because what value does Triple H have winning? But you never know. Even if his supposed career is on the line, he'll find a way to wheedle his way back in storylines.
Oh, more than likely.
Who knows? I give it to Lesnar, hopefully.
I'd probably think Lesnar gets a chance to win it because, like you said, now with Triple H being the COO, how many matches will he, if he wins it, let's just say, and continues his career, quote unquote, how many matches would he be able to appear in too? So that's just one of those things too. I would really love to see though, could Brock Lesnar get some more matches now, and with him being there instead of like the 3 matches that he's had ever since he came back, one against Cena, and then the 2 against Triple H as well.
Yeah, I think he's going to get more. I know his contract has him for so many appearances, but I'm sure that post WrestleMania he's going to get more probably.
Definitely should too. Looking and seeing some more news, we saw something. I think there's some news here about 2 Colorado Rockies teammates fighting in front of fans, which that's kind of crazy right there too. It's just.
Wow. Was this in a dugout on a diamond?
I think it was on a. I'm looking at it right now. The two players are Edmer Escalona and Juan Nicasio. Scuffled during stretching exercises on Thursday with fans watching at Coors Field. That's just crazy right then and there. But then again, I just know that I wouldn't expect it to happen this early in the season. I can understand if it's like during late part of the season, you're in a tough stretch during the season, and then you got players fighting. That would be a little bit of a different story right then and there. But it being so early in the season, it's kind of just baffling to me, So we'll see what happens. Also, Derek Jeter could be back by May 1st as well. And Deshaun Thomas is going to leave Ohio State for the NBA draft.
Man. Can't say I'm too surprised.
So we're going to see pretty much how many more freshmen actually get a chance to move to leave. Will Shabazz Muhammad get the chance? Will Noel get the chance? I mean, that's going to be another thing as well. So a lot of storylines here. We'll save those up for the next appearance, for our next show. When do you think our next show is going to be on this one, Rob?
Probably Monday.
All right, we'll try to shoot for Monday as well. I guess for this one right here, this pretty much puts the bow on this episode here. I'm Lamar Gafford.
I'm Robert Brown.
And we hope to come back bigger and better and stronger the next time. And just saying, see you later and have a nice day.